First and foremost, if nobody told you as of yet today, I love you. If nobody told you as of yet today, I am proud of you. You're going to continue to achieve anything you set out to do. You understand? Also, you already know, I do got to give you that brief disclaimer. I only want you to take what resonates and leave the rest behind, alright? I don't want you trying to force certain scenarios for you. If you don't get your confirmation through me, I guarantee you're going to get it through somebody else, so trust your process. Also, y'all already know that voice too raspy to be whispering. So this about the time that you probably want to go ahead and hit that volume, alright? So before we jump in, I want to send all that love, light, and abundance back to you. I also want to thank you in advance for all y'all's love, like, share, subscribes, y'all's kind words, not only to myself, but each other too. I appreciate you, all right? I don't always get to pause for my message to relay that to you. Thank you, babies. Sending them roses right back to you. So look, there's something we're going to have to talk about, right? Now, one, today's discussions is going to be pertaining to breaking out of the matrix, as well as certain cycles that you're currently connected to. Now, hear me out, right? I want you to realize you are what you think, right? So let's take a step back to when we was growing up, right? Now, chosen ones, a lot of you are asking, how are you able to manifest certain things that you know is for you? How do you get to align with that spiritually, mentally, physically, all of these things, right? So we're going to talk about it. So first and foremost, I want you to think about certain phrases that you may have heard when you was little, right? So we may have heard the phrase, something as simple as, you have to see it to believe it. Right? Let's play that back, because all of us heard it. We heard it in movies. We done heard us pertaining to certain things that we were doing, certain people too. What do they say? You got to see it to believe it. Now, there's multiple ways that you can take that, right? See, some of you took that, you got to see it to believe it, meaning that you don't go based upon your intuition. You don't go based upon your discernment. Sometimes you have to physically see certain things in order for you to learn certain lessons from them. See, that's something that was instilled in you. See, something as simple as you got to be cautious of certain words that you're saying and allowing other individuals to say to you too, because something as simple as you have to see it to believe it. Now you wondering why you such a logical thinker, why you overanalyze everything, why you go against your intuition, why you go against your discernment, because you have to see it physically. See, that's something that was embedded in you, right? But there's also a way that you could take that too. When you hear individuals say, you got to see it, believe it. That got to see it to believe it. You can also take it pertaining to, if you remember that your mind is the manifester, any position that you see yourself in is what you're going to get as well. See, let's talk, right? You know, when you was younger, right? Some of us had imaginary friends. See, you never was lonely because you seen them, right? To you in your head, even though on the physical, they wasn't really there, you didn't feel lonely because you seen them to believe them, right? You believed that you had an imaginary friend, so therefore you never felt lonely, right? Okay, let's talk. You know how when you little, you can imagine that you a superhero, right? And what does that do? It makes you more confident. It makes you take on certain characteristics that they have that may not necessarily been exactly you, right? So you think about somebody who Spider-Man tip. Now they more adventurous. Now they feeling like they can save certain things. See, they imagine it, right? See, I want you to realize, chosen ones, that the thing that you have to learn to do again is imagine certain things for you. Because that's the same thing that, again, is going to allow certain things to manifest for you. See, imagination is key. When you can imagine it, you can obtain it. When you imagine yourself in that position, then that's the position that you're going to be playing. Imagination is key, but they took that from you. See, individuals then, again, they have been making you feel like you have to see certain things physical. Whole time, if you imagine yourself in that position, that's what you're going to get out of it. So when you imagine that you had an imaginary friend, you never was lonely. When you imagined that you was a superhero, you played a certain position. You was fearless then, right? Okay, cool. See, when you was little, you might have imagined you being in the NBA, the WNBA too. You understand me? You imagine yourself playing that character. You imagine that you was actually there, so all of a sudden your skills started to improve. Certain things you started to be more confident about you doing. See, you had to imagine in order to obtain it. That's why you need to get your imagination back. See, again, you allowed certain things to happen to you, as well as certain things that people spoke on to you, projected to you too, for you to take on that illusion that they was placing on you. See, chosen ones, the phrase, you got to see it to believe it. You have to see yourself in that position. See, think about even a musician, right? Certain individuals who, quote unquote, made it. Individuals that's now getting paid for certain things that they used to do on the daily. See, the difference between you and them is they followed through with it because they actually seen themselves in that position. They seen themselves. How many times we heard certain people say that? Oh, well, I seen myself. I used to see myself on stage. I used to perform in my living room like I was performing at the Apollo. Certain individuals, again, they seen themselves in that position. So therefore, once you make your mind up, you already made it. So what are you allowing to be projected on you? What are you seeing through for you? See, that's another quote and phrase that they use too. You got to see it through. So certain individuals take that as whatever you start, you got to finish, right? Okay, cool. What if they was telling you got to see it through, meaning in order for it to manifest, you got to see yourself doing it, see, chosen ones. Don't get finessed. That's why you got to be cautious of certain words that you repeat about yourself. You got to make sure that you speaking life into you. What do you see yourself doing? Because that's what's going to get presented towards you, see. You know how certain actors, right? The best actors, what do? They say, what made you so successful? You really brought out that character. It almost was like it was you. They talking about, I had to see myself in that position. I had to see myself as that person. And they perfected it, right? So what are you seeing yourself in? Are you limiting yourself? Are you seeing yourself in this so-so-ass situation with somebody who barely recognizes you, barely acknowledges you, barely shows love, light, and appreciation towards you? Are you going to see yourself in a different position too? See, even gamers, right? I want you to think about when you put your mind to something, you respawn yourself. So think about a game. When this area doesn't work out or they get taken out, they respawn to a different safer route, right? They may have to start from the very beginning, or they may get sent to a different location. See, what are you respawning yourself to? I want you to realize, you know how, again, the power is the mind. So therefore, what are you manifesting towards you? If you see something great in every situation that you go into, you're going to always feel great. There's nothing that can go wrong if you always feel like there's a meaning why it didn't go like that. You understand me? So what are you attracted to? What are you imagining for you? See, let's talk, chosen ones. And excuse me, I got to get my charger together. All right. See, let's talk too. I want you to imagine, right? See, I don't know about y'all, but I used to hear songs in my head when I was walking. So all of a sudden this song come on, I start strutting, right? Go from walking like Bambi, knees buckling, to all of a sudden that song played in my head. I'm walking to it, something like Naomi Campbell. You understand me? See, all of a sudden you put yourself in that position like you on a runway. Now you start walking fierce. You understand me? But you got to realize that it all starts in your head. What are you seeing for you? You understand me? What are you manifesting towards you? Do you see yourself with this so-so ass individual still asking for certain love and they can't give it to you? Do you still see yourself struggling? See, it's all about perspective. What do you see yourself in? Because even if you sitting there not breaking in all these millions yet, all these billions yet, you still in a better position than you started, but you not seeing that shit. You understand me? So chosen ones, I want you to realize right now, you living a life of something that you used to ask for. You used to pray for a job, now you got a job. You used to pray for a spot, now you got a spot. You may not have extra right now, but you about to. See, you had to start somewhere. You had to plant that seed and you had to see it through. So you had to see yourself in that position, know that you have the ability to obtain it, and not stop until you see it. You understand me? You had to see it through. See, I want you to realize how your imagination is key, right? So again, if you seen yourself as a superhero, you started to get more brave with it, right? When you started to see yourself as a musician in this position, all of a sudden you start being confident with it, right? Your stage presence is popping. Certain music is starting to get acknowledged. See, you had to see yourself through. That's what's going to change and be the difference between you and individuals who's going to make it. They seen themselves in that position. They seen it through, chosen ones. You understand me? So I want you to think about even something as simple as you going to dream. See, this is how we're going to say imagination is everything, right? See, even when you about to go to sleep, right? Even when you about to go into your dreams, right? Dreams always start with you imagining something. See, sometimes you could have this partner or this person that you interested in. You could, right before you go to sleep, you start thinking about them. You start imagining them near you. You start imagining them being close to you. You start imagining it as far as certain things in the future that you two were going to do, whether or not that was marriage, having a family, so on and so forth, right? You had to imagine it. So before you go to sleep, you start thinking. Imagine means, again, you thinking about something before it physically gets presented, right? So you start seeing this person. Oh, I can imagine this person cuddling me right now. You imagining, right? And then all of a sudden, what happens? Those dreams start coming, right? So you imagine it first, then you fall off in your dreams, and that's what starts to occur in those things, right? You had to imagine it. You had to see it through. See, not only that, chosen ones, I want you to realize that sometimes you got to make sure that your imagination ain't getting the best of you. See, sometimes you are imagining that that person is not answering your phone call because they really working. Whole time your intuition is telling you that they out here entertaining other feminines or masculines. But in that moment, when you again want to allow your imagination to take over it, you're not picking up on signs and synchronicities that God's showing them. You sit there and allow your imagination to tell you that they not being foul towards you, that there's an excuse on why they doing what they do. You sit there and try to rationalize certain things that are not what you physically seeing, but what you think that they had the potential to be. So therefore, make sure that your imagination is not working against you negatively. You understand me? You had to remember, again, get out of your head pertaining to you have to see it to believe it. What if I told you that your intuition, your discernment was God's blessing to you? That is a superpower that not everybody has within them. That, again, God tells you intuitively what they plan to do you before they have an opportunity to do it. You understand me? So, chosen ones, you had to make sure that you know that imagination is everything, but you can't imagine negative things towards you. You can't imagine certain foul things or failures. You understand me? You have to see it through, meaning seeing yourself in that position to obtain certain things that you want to do. You want to be a business owner? Put yourself in a field and imagine yourself being successful. But it's all about perspective. You understand me? So make sure that you're not allowing your mind to get the best of you. See, let's talk, right? At this moment, it's all about perspectives. The person who's going to be optimistic or the one who's going to be pessimistic. That's negative, right? So you could, and I'll give you an example, right? When I was younger, and see, again, when you was younger, it teaches you a lot about you, but people teach you to go against it, right? See, when you was younger, you had these big dreams and admirations, certain things that you naturally was talented at. Now you starting to realize that the more that you find yourself is the more that, in a sense, your inner child starts to backtrack. It starts to remember certain things that it used to like. See, it's all about perspective, but we gonna get back to that, right? See, chosen one, when I was younger, right, my mother got her lights cut off. Electric was off, right? During that time period, that could have been a negative moment for her, right? She was feeling bad about it. See, it was all about imagination. See, when I was younger, the times that our lights got cut off, I thought that we was camping. I took it as we was camping because we was in the living room, tents and forts built up. We ain't have no ability to have cold food unless it was in the cooler. We didn't have no lights. We was using flashlights and little push on and click offs. We wasn't able to use our stove. So therefore, again, certain grills we had to end up grilling on. See, to me, in my head, that was us camping in a sense. That's why I'm so passionate about camping, and I ain't never been on it, right? See, during that moment, my mom's perspective was that was a negative experience. She was viewing it as it was the worst thing ever. But to me, I used my imagination, and it helps me get through it, right? See, those are the times that I look back, and that's something that I brag on. The same moment that she thought was something that was breaking her, the same thing that she may have been upset that she was facing those circumstances, it was all about imagination, what we was making out of it. See, fast forward to years later, see, it's crazy how things happen. My mother didn't know when I was younger. She had certain things in my name, right? So when I turned 18, got my own place, I started experiencing the same thing. See, when I went to go get my lights cut on, right? I was all proud. This is the first time I'm going to be using my credit or putting my social security down. Whole time I realized that those same places that I used to not be able to go to, the same places that my mother made me go sleep on a bench because she didn't want me to be around her masculine, because he ain't approved that she even had kids. See, that same place that she didn't welcome me in was the same place that she had certain shit in my name, right? So all of a sudden I turned 18. I sat there and was excited to get my lights cut on. They talking about, nah, you got to pay $4,000. I'm like, huh? But it was all about perspective. See, at that point in time, I could have sat there and felt like everything was falling on me. But at the same time, I was like, okay, how we going to work through these things? See, at that time period, I sat there and had a gas stove. So again, you know what you got to do. See, if you know, right? Sat there and sparked that up. We was still having big meals. Sat there and used all these candles in my crib that from the outside looking in, it looked like we had lights on in that shit. See, I'm trying to tell you, you was able to change the dynamic. See, those same circumstances, if you camping, which means it's something that you volunteering to do, you don't feel like they unfavorable. You feel like everything's working perfectly for you. But if you have to go through and do those same things while you living in a crib and your bills you can't pay, see, at that time you feeling like it's the worst thing. Whole time it's the same thing. It's all about perspective. See, had you went camping, those certain things is something that you would have been expecting. You would have viewed like, yo, everything's going together. We got the grill, we got the tent, we got the camping, we got the cooler. You feeling positive about it when you feel like you in control of it. But as soon as it's outside of your control, now you thinking of it's negative. And it's the same circumstances that you would volunteer yourself to be in. So therefore, chosen ones, it's all about perspective. You understand me? See, at that time period, I could have been tripping. I could have been wilding. I could have felt like I was hurting. But now I'm like, yo, listen. What's the most rational thing to do? I'm not going to sit here and be hurting. See, one thing about me, I'm a go-getter. So within 2 days, that shit was paid. But still, it allowed me to go back into that time period where when I was younger, we didn't have no lights in our crib. And I had to adjust to the surroundings, right? So I want you to realize everything that you go through trains you for certain things that you hit into. Only you know how to get out of it because your ass done been there, done that. See, how many of you, for certain checks, see, I done talked about this before, right? How many times when you done sat there and, again, had a certain check, a certain amount came in, you just had enough gas in your whip to make it to work and make it back. But all of a sudden, when it comes to food, that area you may have been in lack. See, at first you was out here buying little fast food, thinking that, oh, well, I'm getting $1 here, $1 here. You thought that that was feeding you. Whole time you still hungry and got to do it again. And all of your funds was now disappearing. But then there's some of us, right? Like, hey, yo, all that little bread that I'm spending, it starts to add up. So instead, you sat there and found certain things that you can cook at your crib and be able to stretch that shit until you get paid again. See, chosen ones, you wouldn't have known it had you not experienced it, right? See, I want you to realize that in life, it's all about your imagination. What you going to turn it into? Are you going to take it this time period and think so negative about you? Are you going to imagine the worst case scenario for you? Are you going to turn this into something that is going to work on behalf of you, that you can put other people on too? See, you may not get your lights cut off because you couldn't pay that bill, but if a storm comes through, you still able to do the same thing that you had to do to survive when you went through what you went through. You understand me? See, it's all about imagination. What are you doing? What are you thinking about? Are you going to turn every situation around on to your benefit? Or are you going to think negative, so therefore you start manifesting more negative things in? It's all about what you imagine. Because again, you have to imagine it, because even for dreams, and that works both ways. Even pertaining to dreams that you have, like if you're going to sleep, you got to imagine certain things first. So you know how something could be on your mind. The scariest thing, or the woulda, coulda, shouldas could happen. All of a sudden, your dream starts off like that, or starts off or includes that person. You worrying about something now. Before you sleep, you imagining the worst case scenario about these things, and then all of a sudden your dream consists of it. You imagine that. You will manifest that in. So therefore, before you go to sleep, if you sit there and imagine yourself in a better position, manifest and put your mind to certain things positive that you're expecting, what do you think that your conscious is calling in? All that greatness. But again, I tell you, your mind is like a magnet, chosen ones. So think about a magnet. They got to face certain things in order to connect to it, right? So if you're looking at everything negative, you acknowledging everything negative, what do you think that you connecting to then? But if you sit there and turn your back to it, it doesn't have the ability to connect to it. So therefore, you're not going to go through it. You understand me? Find a positive in every situation. Manifest, really see yourself in that position. So it's all about tapping back into the inner child, where you start imagining things again. Imagine yourself. Imagine yourself this time next year. Your business is going to be booming. Your bills is going to be paid, and you're going to still have certain money coming in, not only to pay your bills, but to save for a rainy day. Imagine it. And it's going to get presented. Imagine yourself being in love. Somebody seeing you and knowing exactly who you are to them. Knowing that they not willing to make that risk, that you're somebody that they want to take certain risks with, that they willing to marry you quick. Because they see themselves with you. See, imagine what you want. Once you make your mind up, you already made it. Once you make your mind up, it's already faded. So you got to follow through. How they say, you got to see it through, meaning seeing yourself in that position that you want God to lead you to. See yourself that, because that's the only difference between you and somebody else who made it, because that person was really passionate about it. Think about a video game. How you could be out there playing Mortal Kombat, and that person really think that they a person, right? So therefore, they doing all the moves. They out there really taking advantage of certain abilities that they know that they can do. So therefore, again, they believe that they was that character, so they got that win. Whereas you was so focused on telling so-and-so, you was really identifying with them on a 3D level. You didn't believe that you was that person, so therefore they overcame you. See, chosen ones, you have to see it through. Where do you see yourself? And the person that you with, do you see if they had the ability to do those things too? Because sometimes you are caught in an illusion on who they have the potential to be, but not what you're seeing. You have to see it through. And if they're not playing that position or willing to play that position, then you have to see you doing that with another individual. You understand me? What you put in your mind to. Because that person, if they not seeing it through, chosen ones, if they sitting there talking about what they know they should do, but they not doing it, chosen ones, if they out here wasting time doing the same thing, being in the same cycle, no. You see yourself doing that with somebody else, because you have to really put in perspective. I always say, take a step outside yourself, because when you out here assisting everybody else, you can see exactly what they supposed to do. Oh, that's not a good partner. So-and-so's using you. So-and-so's manipulating you. So-and-so's doing this. You can always give other people good advice, but when it comes to you, you don't see that same shit. So therefore, Step outside yourself, chosen ones. And I want you to really think of that person, that feminine or that masculine. Do you see longevity with them? Do you see a future with them? Or do you see you settling? Do you see yourself always having to be somebody who moves into certain things that's not move-in ready? Fixer-upper. Are you prepared to, if that person, again, they didn't heal, every time you try to help them, they hurt you, they run from you, they sit there and try to escape certain things that you're trying to provide for them. You understand? So therefore, again, if these individuals if they keep running from it, what's that mean? It don't want to be caught. Think about Tag. You running because you don't what? You don't want to be caught. Think about as far as Jason is chasing after you. You running because what? You don't want to be caught. So if they keep running for love, they keep running from those conversations, they keep running from making those decisions, if they keep running from, again, that commitment, then that's not somebody that wants to be in it, because they'll allow you to catch up to them and they'll go head forward with you. You understand me? So if they running, they don't want to get caught. If they running from their mind, taking certain substances to escape that shit, they don't want their mind to catch up to them, right? They don't want to deal with it. So you talking about you want love. You want marriage. See, those past people have you scared to get into it. Don't. That's your superpower. See, you got a certain puzzle piece that you create, right? That's a picture. But what if I told you that this puzzle piece was only a piece of a bigger piece, and that they got certain pieces too? That the person that you divinely align with gonna put their puzzle pieces together with you, and y'all gonna see a different view. See, you can't get finessed out your blessings, because sometimes that person that you're supposed to marry is going to bring certain love, light, abundance, and protection. You understand me? So don't allow the past to have you scared, have you scared of moving forward, have you scared of trying again. Because that's what makes you different from them. You growing, you healing, you experiencing. You understand? You not simply just existing, you living, chosen ones. There's something that has to be learned from it. So again, if that person, I want you to think, is this somebody that you always gonna have to have these same conversations with, telling them about your feelings and how you don't approve certain things that they're doing, how what they do hurts you, how they only think about them and they don't consider you, how they don't offer you to go out on dates with you, how they don't acknowledge you because they out here connected to other individuals? You gotta sit there and really think about it. Is this somebody that you're going to have to keep putting work into? So if you buying a house, are you going to buy a house that's already falling apart for you? If this is some place that you want to move into, that you don't have to sit there and take all this time to build up again, it's something that you want to move into right away and start having certain experiences with. See, which one? Because if you're not wanting to get in a relationship right now, if you're not wanting to build yourself up right now, if you're not willing to or wanting to move into that place right now, okay, that situation shit, that friends with benefit, that might be cool for you. If that's what you want to do, you don't want no structure. This ain't in a place that you even want to move into. Okay, cool. So that if you just wanted to stay there quickly or not deal with it, okay, go ahead and move into those places that's not move-in ready. But if this is a place that you want longevity with, somebody that you want to be in a long-term relationship with, that you want happiness and peace as well as profit, chosen ones, then you need to pay attention to it. If it's falling apart before you even get into it, if you gotta tell this person before you even in a relationship that they not calling you, they not speaking to you, they barely communicating with you, that they don't act like they got feelings to you, that they acting so hard and act like they can't be vulnerable, then this ain't your person. If you got to put all this work in before you can enjoy it, then you like somebody that do it yourself. You like that DIY. You like that always fixer-upper. You ain't trying to move into it. If that's your life, that's what you choose, and do you. But if you want something that, again, you can be comfortable in, you ain't got to keep focusing about putting money, investment, so on and so forth into it. How they say, if you don't want somebody dancing in your video every day, come over to the Divine Squad. You understand me? There's benefits of that. You heard me. See, manifest it. What you want? You heard me. What you want? You trying to settle? You trying to make that person into your perfect partner. You want that fixer-upper. When you got somebody else that's moving ready right now, you heard me. That person's moving ready. They've been praying to cross paths with somebody like you. And when they cross paths with you, they gonna really grab a hold of you. They're not gonna let that go. You ain't gonna have to tell them what you want. They're gonna be too busy being it. You understand me? You ain't gonna have to tell them the importance of communication, acknowledgement, so on and so on. You understand? You ain't gonna have to sit there and break that down to them. That's who they going to be. So if you attracting somebody else that has certain qualities, then you gotta take a look at you, because you are what you attract. Or if you are not playing that position, that's all that you're manifesting in. That's all that you're expecting to a certain extent. So therefore, again, what you see is what you gonna see. You understand me? So if you see yourself always settling, always having to explain yourself or not to get appreciative, or you understand taking advantage of, okay, if you see yourself in that, that's what your ass gonna see. But if you see yourself getting the love that you want, recognized, acknowledged, then you're gonna have to believe that. You understand me? Way before you physically see it, you gotta see it in your mind. So again, if you're wondering why certain dreams come through and you see your divine partner, but God never shows their full face to you, it just shows them certain qualities. So they could show you their mouth, they could show you their eyes, they could show you their goatee, so on and so forth, right? You see your partner, right? You'll see them in your dream. And then all of a sudden, guess what happens? You end up running into them physically. Like, yo, I seen you somewhere. Where did I see you at? Whole time it was your dream. You seen yourself with that person. You manifested them in. God showed you who they was, your person. So therefore, again, when you seen them, you knew exactly who they were way before you got to know them. See, chosen ones. You better understand that. You understand me? You have to see it. How they say, see it to believe it. You have to see it in order to achieve it. What are you seeing through? You got to see it through. What are you see yourself doing? You see yourself as successful? Okay, cool. Let me say this, right? What's success to you? Some people say, well, success is being aligned in my purpose and getting paid profit for it, right? But for some reason, you don't feel like you're successful unless you got 1 million people buying from you or getting your services, right? But in your description, success means you getting paid for something that you're passionate about, that's your purpose. So even that one customer that came through, you successful because you're getting paid for your purpose. You understand me? So if you really put yourself in perspective and be like, yo, I'm positive, even if you got that one person who purchased your project, whatever the case may be, you have to imagine yourself being successful. You're successful. You're doing those things that you wanted to do. You're now seeing yourself having certain things come through. You have to see it. You understand me? See it through. You had to give yourself acknowledgement too, because you are never going to be happy if you're not embracing what you're going through. Because this used to be your prayer too. You used to pray to know what it is that you're supposed to do. Now you know what your purpose is. You used to pray that you can get paid for something that you're passionate about. You got money coming in, but you're still not grateful because you don't got money to save. Don't you know that that comes next? That it's a process, right? When you plant that seed, you got to water it, right? You got to weed all those different weeds out from around of it, right? You got to put that sun on it, right? You got to protect it from the harsh elements, right? You got to sit there and nurture it and be patient. And as you see that sprout come up, right? Then all of a sudden, you'll start to see that fruit start to form, right? Then you still got to wait for it to be ripe in order for you to take that bite, right? So therefore, it's a process. Why you trying to rush that shit for you? Don't you know, one, you had to make your mind up. That was you planting that seed that you can do it. You sat there and had to go through those storms where you may have been crying. You was watering that harvest. You had to sit there and disconnect and isolate in order to elevate. You had to have certain people get from around you that's weeding certain shit out. You had to sit there and again protect yourself from those elements. Protect yourself from those people that you shouldn't have been around. You had to sit there and again make sure that you put that light on it. It had enough sun coming to it, that photosynthesis, right? That's you speaking life into what you're doing, acknowledging that this is your purpose that you're supposed to be doing. You paying attention to the things that you're trying to be doing. So you had that sun, right? Then all of a sudden your ideas, you got that business, right? You got that idea what you're supposed to do, that direction or move you're supposed to make. That's that sprout showing up. Okay, cool. Now you got to continue the same steps all over again. Water it, weed out certain things, protect it from its elements, speak life into it. Because you know when you speak to plants how that shit starts growing, right? So you speaking affirmations into you too. That's when certain things start growing for you, right? So okay, cool. Now you see that sprout. You keep doing the same thing. Again, watering it, weeding it, speaking life into it, protecting it, right? Then all of a sudden you see that fruit start to form. That's you finally getting paid for your purpose, right? You see this bigger picture like, yo, this, you see how this is right now? Oh, this is nothing to compare it to what it's about to be. You imagine how when you take that bite, how that shit's going to be so sweet, how that shit's going to be nourishing, right? So therefore you continue on your purpose. You continue watering it, speaking life into it, pursuing it. That goes pertaining to love too. You sit there, keep speaking love onto you. You keep acknowledging great qualities about you. You start acknowledging great qualities about individuals too. You start adhering to it, weeding out certain people that truly don't want to do the same thing as you. Certain people don't have the same mentality as you, not no like-minded individuals. See, you have to weed it out. What's that last thing that comes? That fruit is then ripe. Now you can take that bite. And when you take that bite, guess what? There's all these other that's starting to get prepared around that too. See, certain people tell you should focus on one thing at a time. Whole time you planted multiple seeds. And that one was going to help all those others come up. Was going to allow all those to align in divine time. So therefore, again, when this area of your life starts getting sweet and you start to take a bite out of it, all of a sudden your money starts multiplying. That's that other harvest coming through because you waited to that season. Now it's starting to get produced. Now all of a sudden that other business venture that you planted in, that you was waiting to start flourishing, now you know why God told you to start that business and you ain't even know what your business should be interested or focused in. See? Now that seed then went off. Now you got your home life. Now the connections around you is getting strong. Now this, see, I'm trying to tell you, you planted all those seeds at one time, didn't even know what you was doing. Now when you take a bite of this other one's going to be available to get to. And when you get this one, now this one's going to get produced and get provided for you. See, chosen ones. Your mind, body, and soul got to align. But you got to see it through. What do you see yourself creating for you? Greatness, abundance, love, prosperity. Stop settling. You out there settling for those seeds that are messed up. Those people that no matter how much you try to water them, speak life into them, and no matter how much sun and attention that you place on them, if that seed is a dud, that seed is a dud. There ain't shit gonna come from it. So those people who you keep gotta say the same thing to them and they just don't get it. It's because they don't want to. Those people that you saying you want a future with, and you've been with them for all these years and they still didn't offer any type of commitment because in their head, it's not something that is important. So, chosen one, what are you watering? What are you waiting for it to flourish? And that shit is a dud. Because half those individuals that you like, well, if I keep giving it to this, they'll become love, they'll see love. But every time you try to heal them, they pick those scabs, see? You got to pay attention to their action and their pattern. What do you want? Are you settling? Are you just saying that you cool with this because those other people trained you to be complacent? Now that you don't feel like nobody would be able to play those positions? Or are you going to be open to somebody who's going to do those things naturally for you, that they're going to be like-minded like you, that they're going to provide that same reciprocation to you? You understand me? You have to see it through. But you also have to see things for what it is. If you done water it for several years and no commitment came out of it, no understanding came out of it, that seed is a dud. It wasn't able to adapt to its elements. It wasn't able to adapt to its surroundings. You understand me? Because even how they say a rose that grew through concrete, If you determine, no matter your surroundings, you're going to be able to flourish. You're going to be able to be, you understand, be present, so on and so forth. So chosen ones, you got to be with individuals who seeing it through. You understand me? Great things align for you, but you have to believe it to receive it. Once you make your mind up, you already made it. You understand me? But listen, I got to get up off here because I do have some readings to do. Excuse me. Please remember, I'll never reach out to you for a reading, all right? You got to be ready to receive it because I'm not sugarcoating nothing. I'm going to tell you about your past, your present, your future too, what individuals around you are doing to you, as well as what you're doing to you too, all right? So I have personal readings, the links in my bio, as well as coaching sessions. The coaching sessions, we talk on the phone. You can ask me as many questions as you have. As far as that, I provide clarity for them, elaboration to them. And again, you can focus on the areas of interest. Now, personal prophetic readings, again, I'll read you, provide you the insight that God tells me to tell you. And that's something that you can save and listen to as confirmations for future references as well, all right? So just remember that I'll never reach out to you for a reading. You got to be ready to receive it. If you want to know the truth about you or people you connected to, I got you, all right? I love y'all so much. I appreciate you. I'm going to upload this live later on my YouTube. And I got the last 2 videos coming too, all right? Love y'all. Continue to be great, babies.